that will lead us. But we hope that it will bring new and more transparent governments into the international community. Of course, Mexico is now fully on the radar of the U.S. government and others, particularly with a report that says Hezbollah was involved in Mexico to some extent. And of course, the president recently announced that U.S. forces will be leaving Iraq by the end of the year. So there is much change in the wind. There is much change still to come. And in all of this, the private sector has been part of some of these activities and has participated successfully to help people be freer, to be safer, to be more prosperous. As we know, the Commission on Wartime Contracting report is out, and I know that Mike Thibault will be here to talk to us tomorrow, I believe. And of course, Bob Dixon, who's the former executive director of the Commission, is here as well. It's getting a lot of attention, it's getting a lot of play, and I encourage you to speak to both of them and ask the questions about their experiences, as well as Jim Durso, who is also here from the Commission. The OFPP final memo is out regarding inherently governmental activities, and we finally have a memo, and we finally have some guidance, and hopefully we will see where that leads the private sector's ability to support these ongoing global operations. We continue to have reports from SIGIR and SIGAR. The Debt Commission is in full swing, or about to be into full swing, and I bring that up only because of the trigger point that says if we can't get things sorted out, defense loses $1 trillion. And I think that that would be personally unconscionable for the nation. So let's all root for the Debt Commission to get it done, and get it done very, very well. As I said, this industry continues to do amazing things for defense, for diplomacy, and for development, but there is still a lot of work for us to do. We must continually find new ways to deliver value, whether we're being asked to improve, to innovate, or to invent. We have to come with our A game. We must better understand what the government needs. And while I agree that it is a difficult thing, I don't think it is an impossible thing. And I think that with a closer dialogue with decision makers, when we bring these new and unique ideas to the government, we can help ensure that they aren't commoditized into an RFP that leaves source selection committees, contracting officers with no choice but to choose down the center of the fairway instead of choosing an optimal solution that actually moves the needle for the country. Now, it's a two-way street, and I hope that government helps and embraces these conversations, but I think the impetus falls on us to be able to demonstrate the sort of value that we can continue to bring. We have to set the bar high enough so that those of us in the audience who have invested time, money, in some cases blood and treasure, in being able to support the government aren't usurped by two dudes who are working out of their trunk in a laptop, but who just happen to be able to write a good fairy tale story in response to an RFP. Lipstick on a pig is still a pig. If we're going to invest in ensuring that our companies are always prepared to support the government, we need to set that bar high enough so that ne'er-do-wells can't actually get inside the circle of trust that we hope to form with the government as a partnership. Low price technically acceptable is a tough thing in contracting. We tend to believe that we're always buying a widget, but for those of us who are involved in services industries, LPTA doesn't work, in my opinion. As a matter of fact, it really turns out to be low price, please don't embarrass me. I don't think it's right. I think that we need to, again, convey the value that we bring. That a race to the bottom with these consistent underbidders who underbid by hundreds of millions of dollars and then try to come back for more money through change orders in a contract, which actually costs the government twice as much as it would have had we been able to choose the proper vendor in the first place, hurts all of us. It hurts the reputation of the industry. It makes people ask questions. We have hearings. And for those of us who have kindly been invited to hearings, 3 hours and 45 minutes is generally a long time to sit down and answer questions. Chronic underbidding costs the government 2 times as much. And quite frankly, the protest as a business development tool to extort work from a prime or to extend revenues from a failing program, I think also hurts our reputation. We should endeavor not to do these things. And I believe that we will. I believe that those in this room and others in the industry are pulling together to come up with these great solutions that will help shape and support future operations. And I think that there's a way forward for us to do that. It's going to take some work. But if we're only in response mode, if we only respond to interrogatories, if we only respond to RFPs, we're going to be left with what we have now. And I think that we have much more to offer. All of these things drive acquisition strategies that don't embrace necessarily the best ideas, but embrace the least protestable solution. Again, where does that leave us with supporting the warfighter, with supporting the diplomat, or the development professional, or the international organization worker? I don't think it leaves anyone in the best position, because what happens is we buy a C+ when we are hoping to give an A. We are better than that as an industry. We can set the conditions of how we are seen. And the final thing I will leave us with before we continue with the conference is this. I don't think that we should ever let it be unknown, that it should be as part of our dialogue with the government and with other people who would use the industry, the true cost that the government bears when they hire contractors. I'll give you just an example. MEP, to this date, has lost 77 people killed, 375 combat injuries that go from nicks and scratches to a traumatic brain injury to catastrophic amputations. 360 other non-combat related injuries and 10 people missing, some of whom were kidnapped from a wedding by the Taliban. I don't think that we talk about necessarily the true cost to the government. We can't allow this just to be a base transaction. I think that we have to accept the true costs, and I think that we have to convey it together as an industry. And I think that those people who have given that final sacrifice, whether they are working in the military, in the government, or the private sector, deserve a whole bunch more. I hope we spend the next 3 days talking about great solutions, about how we can do better, about how we can lift up everyone. And I hope that in the meantime, you enjoy the speakers, you enjoy, good food, some good drink tonight at the reception, and ultimately a better way forward for all of us. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. We should do an article for our journal.